What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we'll be once again looking at some more of the new raid exotics, this time for King's Fall, of course, four brand new ones that made their way into the game with the new remastered 390 version of the King's Fall raid. Probably the least popular out of the four, to be honest, and the weapons are also quite below average, but still some nice looking guns and some decent elements, so definitely some cool stuff worth grabbing. I'll be going over some of the stuff I've picked up, some of the loot, my thoughts on the weapons and roles and stuff like that, and of course comment down below some stuff you've picked up and your thoughts on the raid so far. So we're over on my Warlock, who got most of the cool gear that I can show off at least. You can see the helmet right here, which we'll get onto in a second. We're beginning with the exotics, of course, these are four new ones. So this time we only actually did 2 runs of the King's Fall raid, because of course there are 3 challenge modes in the King's Fall. All the other raids have 2 challenge modes, because there are 2 main bosses, but the King's Fall has 3, so a lot more opportunities for loot drops. Of course, you get 9 in total, so you're basically guaranteed to get one of each of the primaries. Like, if you don't, I really feel sorry for you, you must be extremely unlucky, but the odds of getting one of each are very high, so I'd assume most of you guys are getting all 4 as well. But beginning with the pulse rifle, we've got the Smite of Merain, the adept exotic version with solar burn, which is actually pretty nice. The weapon itself, I'm not really a massive fan of it. Some people love it. I've never really liked it too much. It has got like hardly any stability. It kicks quite high. It definitely looks and sounds very cool. Probably my favorite looking gun out of all the King's Fall weapons. But I mean, it's just got Firefly. It doesn't really have much going for it. I think I'd personally stick to the Steel Medulla from the Wrath of the Machine raid next week. That's going to have Void Burn, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. But you might remember that these guns, the King's Fall weapons, are the only raid weapons that can have different roles in terms of perks. So the primaries have 4 different options. The Smite Merain, for example, can either have glass half full, or life support, Firefly, or danger close. Of course, most of those are pretty garbage, to be honest, but Firefly is definitely the better option. So at some point, Bungie went through and basically fixed one of those 4 possibilities to these primaries. So they're not random. You cannot get different roles on these weapons. They're all going to have one perk that Bungie selected, and of course going to go through the other 3. But for this weapon, it is Firefly in addition to solar burn. So pretty cool Smite Merain right there, which I used a little bit in the raid. But again, the recoil seemed a little bit high for me. I couldn't really get used to it. So next up we have the Anguish of Dristan with Arc Burn. Now this thing might have just taken the crown of the worst exotic in Destiny. This thing is just beyond garbage. The recoil is just so out of control. Again, it's got Arc Burn, which, I mean, you got the Zaouli supercell, so I don't really know why I'd use this. It looks cool, but I don't really think there's much going for it. This gun desperately needs a bunch of stability perks to make it viable, but the recoil is just so out of control. So unfortunately, this isn't a great one, but that is the Anguish of Dristan with the crowd control perk fixed to it. So next up is the Zaouli's Bane, also a weapon that gets quite a lot of flack for being pretty bad. This one's gotten a little bit better, but still it's in the bad archetype, the fastest rate to fire. So again, it's not really a great weapon. This one has a Void Burn, so very similar to the Word of Crota, and the fixed perk on this is Life Leech. So 3 rapid kills with the weapon, heals a small amount of health, and starts regeneration. I guess a decent perk in PvE. You definitely not want to bring this thing anywhere near the Crucible, you would get destroyed. But it's almost like a mini Red Death in a hand cannon, so you can shoot a bunch of ads, maybe thralls or weak enemies that you can one-shot. Again, this is the low impact, so the amount of enemies you can one-shot is very limited. So but if you do get those one-shots, you're going to regen a little bit of health if you get 3 in rapid succession. So there you go, that is Zaouli's Bane. Very, very slow reload. That's the main thing it's renowned for. It takes like months to reload this thing. So again, definitely not one of the highlights of the King's Fall weapons. But the next one is definitely one of the highlights. This is a really good gun, the Doom of Chelchis, the scout rifle. This one also has Void, which is very nice. And the intrinsic fixed perk on this one is full auto they've chosen. So a very solid and reliable weapon for PvE and strikes. Anything, of course, with a Void Burn, that is. And it's the same kind of archetype as the Vision of Confluence, that 4837. Very common and probably the best archetype for PvE. So this is a solid weapon. Of course, I like scout rifles a lot myself, so definitely a weapon I would gravitate towards. And kind of toggling between this and the Vision of Confluence, definitely a very good combo with the Void and Solar. So that's the Doom of Chelchis scout rifle. And then I also picked up another exotic, the Anguish of Dristan, and also another Doom of Chelchis. Those are duplicates, but basically all of us got all 4 primary weapons, so wasn't really much incentive for us to go through a couple more hours of grinding. But of course, let me know in the comment section how lucky you guys get in terms of the exotic primaries. Now down here, we also have the Touch of Malice, the forgotten weapon, but still a very cool exotic, definitely unique. Kind of wish it had a bit more utility, but still pretty cool in itself. Had to grab this out of the kiosk myself because I deleted it, but obviously a very useful weapon in itself. Now, in terms of the other weapons, I didn't really get much other guns. In secondaries, I got one of the fusion rifles, which is complete garbage, so I immediately dismantled it. And I got no heavies. Got 3 of the ghost shells from the challenge modes. They're very common. So in terms of the armor, I once again got pretty lucky and got quite a few pieces, which I was happy with. I got the Mouth of Yore, which is this massively oversized helmet, very similar to kind of Oryx and the Wizard's heads. But this thing doesn't really change much with colors. Like if I cycle through, it seems to most of the time it be red. I'm not really too sure why that is, but it seems to always be red, like in almost every different color. Even just like a super black shader, it's still looking red. Also candlelight, that some of the shaders that make you glow just make this helmet look absolutely ridiculous. It's quite funny, but yeah, you can see what it looks like with different shaders. So pretty cool helmet, of course, with the ornament applied there to make it look all different and kind of glowing. And then in terms of the gauntlets, we've got some for the Warlock and one for the Hunter as well. I got one chest piece for the Hunter and also two class items, the Bond and also the Hunter Cloak. Both of them look pretty cool with the ornaments applied. I'm really a fan of the Warlock Bond, all this blue kind of floating rock stuff, but there you go. Those are some of the armor pieces. There are no new emblems because, of course, there already are some existing for the original version of the raid, which you probably got ages ago when King's Fall first launched with the challenge modes. But there is, of course, a new shader, which you can preview in the kiosk next to the raid ones, but it is quite a rare drop, so it's pretty difficult to come by. And there is also a Sparrow, which you can preview as well in the kiosk that does look all Takenified. So those are some of the loot drops and stuff I've picked up, in addition to, of course, a bunch of these ornament tokens you can see here. So as always, if you enjoyed the video, a like rating would be much appreciated. Comment down below the stuff you've picked up and any cool rewards you've gotten out of this raid, and I'll see you guys in the next one.